Tonight was class number 7, the triangle choke and the Haymaker punch defense. And before I get into that, I got to tell you one thing I used to hate about Gracie University, but now I really like. So tonight was kind of crazy because I'm still feeling a little sore from last week's super workout. When I say super workout, I think if you watched my last video on discipline, I really pushed myself super hard trying to get this, 75 hard workout thing on. And I don't know, I think I pushed it a little too far because I've been pretty injured the last couple days. Maybe not injured, but definitely hurt, just really sore. And so I wasn't even sure I was gonna come to class tonight, but after going for my walk this morning, I felt pretty good and I decided, you know what, I'm going on down. Now, I wasn't too keen on going through 1,000,001 triangles with the way my knee was feeling, but I was down for the cause, and guess who I ended up pairing up with? I ended up with my man, Shant. Shant was the guy that I trained with a couple weeks ago. I'll put the video above my head, and I called him Sam because I couldn't remember his name, but his name is Shant. And this young guy, he finally is off the trial. He's officially a member now, and he's getting his learn on. So when it came time to pair up, he kind of looked at me, and I kind of looked at him, and I'm like, what do you want to do? And he said, let's go. So he and I were partners. And of course, being a brand new guy, I did quite a bit of teaching. Now, of course, I don't want to be the teacher. I defer to Sam and I defer to Zach, who are instructors tonight. And yes, I called Sam over at least twice to confirm some of the things that we were thinking and some of the things I was trying to tell him, because I never want to come off as the instructor. I always want to defer to the instructor because they are the experts. They are in charge. But being a 3-stripe white belt and having been here since January, I know a significant amount more than my man Shant. But as we're going through it, I'm showing some things. He's getting it. He's enjoying it. We had a good time. Of course, with the Haymaker punch defense, we're talking trash. What'd you say about my mama? You took my parking spot. You took, whatever. And, but I think his favorite thing was in the giant killer variation of the triangle, when, if you've done it before, you know how it is. You pull him into the triangle position. You don't have to stop at triangle setup. You can just go straight to the finish. And so when he's doing it, I said, finish him. And he laughed because I don't know how old he is. He's not nearly as old as me, I don't think. But he remembers Mortal Kombat. And he kind of laughed like, dude, Mortal Kombat. I'm like, hell yeah. Don't worry about the setup. Just go straight to the finish. And so that was kind of fun because I would say finish him pretty much every time he was doing it. And so that was a lot of fun. We kind of laughed about that. But the thing I used to hate about Gracie University that I like now, I'll tell you what it is. It's writing the student's name on their belt. When I first got here to Gracie HQ, I saw, man, everybody's name was written in these big, giant block letters on their belt. You got your white belt. On one side, you've got the black bar, of course, and on the other side, it's just plain old white belt. On the plain side, they write your name in big, giant freaking block letters. And I thought, dude, you're ruining my belt, because I thought that at some point in my future, I would want to display all of my belts. You've probably seen those displays before where they've got like, the circular one, or they have the rack where you put all your belts. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool to display my belt? But the last thing I want is somebody's stupid block letter kindergarten freaking handwriting, CHRIS. Now, thankfully, there's no writing on my belt because I've been using the same stinking white belt for the last 4 freaking years. When I started at my old Keep Showing Up University, if you remember my story, I first, right before the pandemic, checked out Gracie University in Huntington Beach, and I was like, yeah, I bought a gi and I was ready to rock. But by the time I ended up joining and starting Jiu-Jitsu in 2021, I had fallen in love with my Keep Showing Up tough guy thing, and I just used the white belt that I had. I didn't fit. Honestly, let's be transparent. I did not fit the gis, the uniforms I had at my Keep Showing Up. So I bought a special big and tall gi. There's the video right there. I bought a special big and tall gi, and I used my white belt from Gracie University, and I've been using that belt ever freaking since. So I've been rocking this belt for freaking 4 years. But here's the interesting, tricky part. I don't know what to call it. But when I was looking for a partner, and I saw my man, who I remembered as Sam. I wasn't sure what his name was. I wasn't 100% certain. When I saw him and he came walking up to me, I saw his belt and I saw his name written on his belt, and ding, it was so easy. I didn't have to ask him for his name again. I could just call him his name on his belt. Now, I did verify how to pronounce it because I'm not a jerk, but we got it all figured out. And I noticed, of course, whenever I'm talking to other students, if I happen to forget their name, if I happen to forget anything about them, I can just look at their belt and I know their name. So you ever talk to somebody, you're like, oh man, tell me your name again? And it'd be like the 3rd time. I hate that. So Gracie University, writing the names on the belts, kills that problem like raid kills roaches, right? You don't have to worry about somebody's name because it's right there in their freaking belt. So I love that now, because as I've made friends and as I've talked to more people, and now sometimes people come to me and they have questions, it's nice to be able to address each other by your name rather than asking for the umpteenth time, which you'll probably forget next time anyway. This place is so big and there are so many students that the instructors probably need the names on the belt sometimes, but they're actually really good about names too. So I used to hate that, but now I see the value in it, and I'll probably do that for the rest of my life whenever I have my own CTC somewhere down the road, 2028, I don't know. But the class itself was great. The moves are great. I've done them before. I talked about them before. You've done them before. Triangle is one of my favorite freaking classes. So I don't really have much to say about the technique. What I will say, and what I told my man Shant, I said, you have to create a hole for the person to fall into. He kept forgetting to post his foot on the hip and shoulder walk north to create a hole for someone to fall into. I said, I need to be at the bottom of the triangle, not at the top of the triangle. I need to be at the bottom of the triangle. So you have to shoulder walk, shimmy, whatever you want to call it, back until, I don't want to say until I'm right there by your business, right? But I said, until you create a hole for me to fall into. And so he was having trouble remembering that cue, but towards the end, he got it. And then we did Giant Killer. I was like, finish him, and we had a good time. So short little video update. It's late. I don't know what time it is, probably 9 o'clock. I got yoga in the morning, so I'm gonna go home. But you know what you're gonna do? You're gonna do 3 things. You're gonna stay focused, you're gonna stay positive, and you're always gonna stay vigilant. See you next time.